links that will, that you can then have moving forward, and feel free to share the recording also. So we're going to be focusing on EBSCOhost today. I have a few slides going on, and then we're going to go into the live session. This is Lisa Jones. I'm working today from New Orleans, and I've been working for EBSCO a long time, usually doing a lot of back-end work, making sure your systems librarians have everything going. So some of the things here I might talk about that you can then talk about to your systems people or the people that are kind of managing your EBSCO resources if it's not you. Mostly we'll be focusing on the front end, just what's happening with new EBSCOhost. We definitely want to talk about just what's happening globally, just to kind of ground everybody, because EBSCO is a global company and changes are happening to everyone, not just you. Changes are happening to me too. So let's focus on the key changes then. Please do feel free to ask questions. I will be taking a peek at the chat every once in a while to make sure I'm answering the questions. Anything that's not answered, definitely we'll have time also at the end of the session to answer anything really specific that I'm not able to answer, and then we'll follow up with some answers in an email. Let's do the live demonstration after we look at a few of the slides. A few pieces of information about how you can prepare, what you should be doing, and then questions and answers throughout the session. Yeah, and thanks, Denise. Thanks, everyone, for coming. This is a great show out. So let's talk about what's happening globally. Everyone, there's maybe a few exceptions, but everyone globally that's in the lower level schools are now using new EBSCOhost, new EDS, new everything. So new reference centers, they should be using nothing on the classic interfaces anymore. Academic libraries, for the most part, if you do have the Discovery service, they're mostly already using all new. A lot of the reference centers are new, but we're waiting for EBSCOhost to just have a few more things being introduced to it before academics really start to move over. A lot of people are planning to go this summer. And it really is depending on how you evaluate. How do you use EBSCOhost? What resources you have from EBSCOhost? And is the interface ready for those resources? And I'll go into more of that, but it's things like uh, some of the advanced search pages, we're waiting for, and a few other things that are supposed to be coming before this summer. There are, because it is being built, right now and continuing to be built, then you will see enhancements, and we'll talk about with some of those enhancements that are coming. The URL redirect, so when you do decide, okay, we're ready to switch over to new EBSCOhost, you are not making all these changes on your A to Z database pages. If you do have permalinks in classes, things like that, that will not affect your, when you move over to the new, you won't have to make all those URL changes because redirect is in place. The one thing that I do want to talk about when you do move over to the new user interface, any of them, it will change the URL structure. And it's a more secure structure, which is great. But the really good thing about it is because it's more secure and because it holds your authentication method in this tiny little code within the URL, that URL in the browser menu bar is now, or in the browser address bar, is now bookmarkable. So I'll give you a demonstration of that, but I just kind of want you to think that in your head. We know that researchers are already doing this. They're grabbing the URL and saving it and then saying, why didn't this work? Because currently in the classic EBSCOhost, you have those session URLs, only good for that session. New UI, will be, the browser bar will be bookmarkable. So what's happening? Everything new is coming. So new EBSCOhost, all the reference centers, and we're even getting a new backend admin piece. Of course, we developed the mobile app to go along with and to complement the searching interfaces. So why are we doing new things, and kind of what's the benefits for you? Well, looking at just the modern design, thinking about accessibility guidelines that we're now meeting, that we're not meeting with Classic, that are almost mandatory, right, at some point, and then being responsive. We know users are coming and doing research from multiple sizes and types of devices. The new user interface is much more responsive and is built to be that way. So these are some of the main benefits that you're going to see when you move over to the new UI. And I do see someone asking about the redirect. It's basically the redirect will be working indefinitely. So eventually you would want to most likely use, kind of update your links, but you could then plan that when you have a little bit of downtime, if there is such a thing. But really, indefinitely, those redirects will be there. So I do see another question about that. I will answer that in a minute. So let's talk a little bit about some of the main features of the new UI being accessible. So I'm not going to read everything on the screen here, but if you do have anyone that has the needs, definitely do some user testing if you would like. All of you, I should have said this in the beginning, all of you do have or should have access to your preview URL of new EBSCOhost. If you don't have that, you can ask support for that. And what you're asking for is, please give me my preview of new EBSCOhost. And what you're doing is you're preview what will be your live version, but you're just previewing it now. And you're still using, your main use will be in Classic. You can share that preview link. You can test out that preview link. And I would really encourage anyone that hasn't already done so to then do that. Try to get access to that preview link within your library. So one of the main big pieces is now the PDFs are readable, or, they are actually using the text to speech feature. So you can have them read to you. And along with the text format that has always been able to be read to you, now we have that PDF feature. The new viewers are also been redesigned. So the EPUB, the PDF, the HTML. Then because we redesigned everything, we've also redesigned all the tools. So you see that a lot of the different tools are there, and we have then different options within those tools because you've been asking for those options. So the RIS format for downloading your citation, the MS Word format for downloading that, that metadata. And you can see that when we go live, I'll demonstrate that. Multiple languages are supported, but I think the number one thing is the new user interfaces respect what the browser is set at. So if you have users that have their browser set at a different language, it'll first respect that. They don't have to necessarily go over to the preferences area in My EBSCO and change it on their own. Text to speech, we are using that read speaker technology for both of those types of documents there. The advanced search page, it's there. There are things available there, but what we're really waiting for is what's coming, and it's supposed to be coming then next month in June, and that should be full parity of what you see on the classic version of a database advanced search page. Let's just use CINAHL for an example. Every single option that I see on the CINAHL advanced search page right now in the classic version, I will see on the new UI version, after these advanced pages have been released. Okay, they're really close to being released now. So there shouldn't be any question of, well, is this going to be there? Is that going to be there? Should be full parity. Okay. And if you have your preview, you can just check in another month or another couple weeks and then see if that's there yet. That's how things are being released. So also the ability to see the search modes. These search modes are already being used in the new UI. So your default search mode of either that Boolean, which we're changing to the proximity. The thing about that Boolean phrase naming, it's typically a near 5 proximity search. It's always worked that way. It's just been named Boolean phrase. EBSCO's changing the name to proximity, but the functionality is not changing. It's always been a proximity search of near something. And typically in your system, most likely it's near 5. You can look in EBSCOadmin, or your systems person can look in EBSCOadmin and see what that is, and you can tweak it, or the find all, which is the anding. So those are still happening in new UI, but you will be able to then see them and then change them on the fly. The next thing is, and we'll look at a little bit of this, but a lot of times really, I think just when you're using or when you're testing out new user interface, just if you don't see something where it used to be or where you're expecting it to be, just look in a little different place. So sometimes things might have moved over to the, to where you filter things, or sometimes things are under the subject headings in the subject field or in the subject indexes where you can then filter by things. So look around a little bit, but those are also coming, some of those specialized database field codes that are available for those specialized databases will be coming too. So you see a lot of things are coming like June, July, they're coming up. The mesh and the subject headings, they're already there. Mesh and Cinol, they're already there. I am going to demonstrate that. We do have the full publication authority available, so that's where you're searching for a specific title in a database. Those are there. The browsable tree is there. The hierarchy is there. And the one thing that is a little hidden, but is also only working in the new UI, but it's something that is expected, and you all have been asking about it for a long time and saying, why doesn't it do this? Is when you do a search and you pull a couple filters, let's say I do a search and I filter by a date, and then I grab a subject heading, and then I want to add something to that search, and then some of those filters that I just built go away. Because right now, currently in Classic, we have some sticky filters and some not. And now, what I'm talking about is every single option that we have on the left-hand side in Classic, where you're picking and choosing how you're then filtering your result list. So all of those filters are now sticky, and they're sticky by default. User can turn them off if they want in their preferences area. Or as a library, if you wanted to, you could also turn that functionality off for everyone. I haven't found a use case yet where someone would want to do that. Search alerts, they're already there. Journal alerts are coming over the summer. We are ready to go live. Before we do that, I do want to answer a few questions here. Someone's asking, when do we have to make this change? So it really is up to you at this point, where you're still opting in. But what we've heard, and I don't know if Deb is still here. I know she said she had to go. I would be evaluating it heavily early summer if possible. And if possible, I would choose, if I were you, to go live before fall semester started. If not, then and if you don't tell anyone that you don't want this to happen, the latest I've heard was January 2025, everyone will be switched over to new UI. And when I say everyone, I mean everyone that already hasn't told their salespeople that they wanted to opt out. Now that date could change. That could be moved to summer 2025. But as far as I know right now, if you don't say you don't want to move, you will be switched over in January. What I've been telling a lot of people is you can also run these concurrently. So, or you can put a beta link on your, a couple beta links on your website if you want for fall. In that way, faculty, if you need to be building any instructional materials, you can do that during the fall semester. Um, and and then you can still be running classic, and then you can then be, that prepared a little bit better for that January date. So thanks for asking that. And thanks, Denise, for saying the example or the exact date. So when will the new interface be finalized? I'm going to say it's never going to be finalized, because the way they're developing it is that they will always be improving it. And I know we're not used to EBSCO really changing a lot of things all the time. That's because they couldn't, they used kind of that EBSCOhost was developed in 2008. Right now, the way we're developing with more of the agile way to work, which means that when you request something, we can then say, all right, let's put this on the priority list. A lot of people are asking for this change. Let's put it on the roadmap and let's make that change or make that addition or update this functionality. So I want to make a point here, which is your voice right now is louder and clearer than it has been in a long time when requesting changes. Or asking, why is it this? Or can we do this? Because we are able to then, take what you're asking for, assess it, evaluate it, and then hopefully, like I said, put it on the roadmap and get it going. So of course, there's already things that already are on the roadmap. In fact, I will show you the roadmap towards the end of this session, but really now is not the time to hold back as far as what you want to see done or different, or what you want to have kind of the ability to do. So let me answer a few more questions.
Did you see the one, Lisa, about prep step?
Yeah, I'm going to answer that at the end. I don't know anything about Prep Step. I mean, I
Well,
know, but
it's
I don't know
it
about the new UI in Prep Step.
right. What I wanted to wait also, but it is on its own platform, not on EBSCOhost, so I don't believe any of this will affect it. But I'm,
Yeah, I
want to
don't
make
know if
sure.
Prep
But I
Step
think
is
that's
getting a
it.
redo or not. That's why we just don't know. But
Well, they
we'll
update
get
their
you.
interface as well, but it is completely separate from EBSCOhost. So
Yeah.
I don't think the new UI is going to affect that. So just wanted to didn't want to ignore the question. So
Yeah,
there.
thanks. And then also before that, someone asked if the researcher grabs the address bar. So now that we're here, in fact, let me just go ahead and you can see if a researcher grabbed this address bar here, and typically the entry point is just this. I'm going to say just this. When you get your preview link, you will have this. When I click on it, it's literally telling me I'm default to go to the advanced search page, and then I have all of these 20 databases turned on. Okay, so, but as far as that OPID or as far as the new URL, if you share it with someone else in the institution, yes. So if I grab this and you have the authentication for this, and I shared it with you in this chat, you're going to see and if you're off campus, let's say, you're going to get the proper authentication method and then be able to access. If not, or if you're on campus, then however your typical authentication works, which usually you pass people through, then it's going to be, it's not just an individual link, it is a permalink for everyone. So hopefully that helps, that answers that question too. Thanks for asking that.
So that just to say, so that in this case, for example, that AJZ, et cetera, that's the OPID, correct? That's
Yes,
that
but yeah, and
institution's
that is the OPID for me, for
OPID,
my
right,
site, right? It's
right.
only for my site and it's only for EBSCOhost. So I may, and it's only for this version of EBSCOhost, right? So I may have a couple different versions of EBSCOhost as a site. I may have multiple. Each one of you is going to have a different OPID ID, and that's why it's bookmarkable because that includes your authentication method. When you, if people are asking, well, typically, yeah, typically you don't. So let's just start here. So I'm going to get away from the questions for a minute. So I open up the interface for your preview. It's literally just says here, just you're not pointing because your preview link is going to be this. And you're not necessarily saying, oh, hey, and open up this one database, right? So it's going to just default to all of the databases that you have searched. We know that we have the A to Z database list, and we typically are going to be using one database at a time. So once this is going to be more of the way when I go to your A to Z database list, I click on business source, I get this, and you will get the same thing. So it will redirect your individual URLs will redirect to to where it needs to go, the one database. And then if you do, there's a whole page on, if you are going to be rewriting your URLs, but I would just wait a while and then I would just get all those URLs from directly from Connect or from support. If when you do want to update, let's say next summer 2025, if you say you're updating, that's when I would then update. But all your redirects will go directly to the, just to the one database. So I'm going to just go ahead and do my search here. You saw that I did come in on the advanced search page. This is a choice that I made for my library. You may come in on the basic search page. On the basic search page, I would call these quick filters here. These would be pre-filters before I do a search. Do I want to filter by, full text only? Do I want to only show peer reviewed? Do I want to then filter quickly by just, a couple, last 12, past 5? None of these are turned on because if they were, they would be blue. Okay, so if you have any defaults already turned on for users, then you're going to come in with something blue here. Maybe just this one, most likely. I'm going to just go ahead and turn that off. Let's go back to the advanced search page. The advanced search page shows those quick filters here. So there's my online only, there's my peer reviewed, and there's my options for date range. And then here on the advanced search, I actually have the option for custom range. So I'm not going to do any of that. I have my same filters that I have here, which are these normalized kind of filters for this one resource here. And remember, I said the specialized fields or specialized fields that we can filter by are coming over the summer. Let's just use my keyword here. On the left, wait a minute, what happened here? I think I might need to log into my VPN. I'm sorry. I saw that it had logged out while we were talking. Let me just quickly do that.
Sure, sure.
Sorry about this.
While she's doing that, I have put a couple, I'll put another link in the chat if you all want to. There are some resources at the EBSCOhost website, frequently asked questions about the new interface. They have some checklists for starting the process.
Yeah, and then we'll definitely from the questions I'm being asked here, I'll definitely include like how to build the URL and some other things, some of those links from the Connect site. So here I'm back again, and I just did my search of social loafing. What we do see on the left-hand side then is totally new, right? So what I see here is something we're calling the dashboard. That basically is the folder area or the area to organize my research. So I have my projects, which would be those subfolders, items that I've saved, and my saving feature is here. So let's just go ahead. If I want to save a few, I can. I also have my saved searches or the searches that I've done within this one session. It will keep my session searches, but if I don't save them when I go into the dashboard, they won't be saved for next time. So they're not automatically saved. And then here's what I viewed just for this session. New search is going to clear out my search. Same thing with hitting the EBSCOhost link will just kind of clear out and take me back to my beginning search page. And then I have added some options here that your systems or your administrator can also add, your library administrator for your EBSCO resources, which was just really simple, some navigation links back to the library, maybe over to a contact us or a chat page, and then taking them to the A to Z LibGuides page. So this is something that is unique to me that I can do, and I can have that done before I go live. So once I do a search, I see that I have some different things here on the page. I have my regular results list, my access options. I can see this is a PDF. It's telling me there. So I have some PDF access options. I have maybe then multiple access options. So there's that text version or that PDF version that I have a choice of. And then I wanted to highlight this. If you do see this as access now and there's an arrow going out, this is actually a publisher link that's coming in from Smart Links Plus. That is being enhanced. And so you might start seeing a lot more of these. Right now in classic version, if you do have links that are named linked full text, you may know what Smart Links Plus is because that's what it is. But this really is just an enhancement in linking, and those links will take you directly out to that article at the publisher site. Let's go ahead and look and see and check out the tools area here. So before in Classic, to get to these tools, I had to go into the detailed record. Now I don't have to move to the detailed record anymore, where I can just go ahead and grab that site here. I'm going to pop it down to the APA and copy it to the clipboard and then move on, right? I have multiple options. My MLA is there too. Or I can export the citation in multiple formats here. So these are my choices under that site tool. Add to project is just that subfolder, right? So I would have to be authenticated if I wanted to create a project, and I'm authenticating up here. For me, I had to, I have single sign-on authentication, so I'm already in. But for your users are not most likely going to be auto-authenticated. That is still a choice, just like they have a choice now in Classic to move over. Or to actually authenticate and then start to save your item. So I can save that here, and adding it to my project there, or I can share the tool here where I have my other cloud options. I would call the dashboard your EBSCO cloud, and then I would call these other options, there's your Microsoft cloud, and then there's your Google cloud, and then here is a permalink. Now, why does it need a permalink to that article when you said this link is a permalink? Well, this link is only going to take me to this result list, right? This link is taking me to this article. Okay, a lot of people are used to looking for the permalink. You can still use this link is, will take you to the article. And then I have the email here, which is, the same. We're used to doing that with some instructions on how to send to multiple emails. So let me look at a few. Well, let me finish with this and then I'll look at a few of the questions. So then I also have the download option. So the download option will determine, if there's full text, it'll give you the offer of the types of full text available. Or if you did want to download the metadata only, there's that new MS Word format or a lot of other format types. So I have some, I'm just going to go, so batch exports are coming. So right now, what you can do is let's just say here, 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 I'm going to save those. I'm going to go over to my saved. and I can go ahead and grab these 15 records and then export them, okay? But we're used to seeing the export from the result page. That's coming in the summer. I'm gonna look at the roadmap, and then you're gonna be able to see, we can put on like export in there, and we're gonna see like what the date is and everything. So I'll use that as an example. But right now, the only way to batch would be this way. So I'll just go back, and citations from one page of a search like in Classic. Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about that more and answer that later. Yeah, the email, so someone's asking about, well, when I email, is the citation used to come with it? That's gonna be, so I'm gonna talk a lot about enhancement, not a lot, but I've already kind of talked about, hey, if you're seeing something that's missing, check the roadmap first, and let's just go ahead and do that, because there's a lot of questions. So if I want you to see, maybe some of you can be looking at the roadmap and kind of saying, oh yeah, I found my answer. So I'm just gonna go to connect.ebsco.com. I don't have to be logged in. Look right here, EBSCO roadmap. So the roadmap is always updated. You can see, last updated was May. Each individual tile will show you last updated. But what I want to do here, I can search, and let's just look at export. And this is kind of me being a trainer on the fly. Oh, okay. And honestly, this was not an audience plan. I put in my keyword, keep it simple. I see already, okay, bulk export from results, up from results list. That's what we're asking about, up to 50 items. And we've already been talking in the background, needs to be more than that. So that is something too that you can say, well, I see it's coming, but I need, and then fill in the blank. July 2024. The way that I would look at this roadmap too is I would say, hey, I really don't care about all these other things. I really am just looking for what's happening with EBSCOhost, and I really want to see what's coming, because I have access to the interface and I can see what's there. I want to see what's coming so I can review. There's my filter panel experience. I'm going to just review some other things. There's some custom limiters coming. I can read more about it. There's my filters for multi-database. Here is those advanced search pages, filters for single databases that'll be coming on the advanced search pages. There's that search modes and expanders, search history. So you can see a lot of the things that you're already kind of used to seeing in advanced search, or in the classic version. You will see here this would be the processes. You're searching the interface, you're saying, where is this thing? I don't find it. Look on the roadmap and see, is it clearly here, or can I find it? It should be a minute. I'm not saying take a lot of time. Then you're going to, to open a case in Connect, or make that phone call, get whoever is opening cases for you in your library to open a case. And what you're doing is you're asking for something with new UI. The product managers are reviewing those cases for new UI, and how they're reviewing those, saying, well, 5 people asked for the same thing. We better put that on our roadmap. We better prioritize that. You see how things are working here? That's how things, of course, the product managers have their own roadmap, and they know what they're developing beyond what's even shown here, because this is only showing you first half of 25, okay? And also, I've seen changes. So it can change, not just, that it's been released, but it can just kind of be moved forward, dates can be moved. But you have this, this here that is really valuable for you, and for you to get things on here, and for you to say, to have your voice heard, you have to go through that case management system. Because that's how the product managers that are then creating and prioritizing the list. So I know any questions, honestly, any questions here that are not being answered, I'm going to make a full FAQ and answer them. Let's try to get through a little bit more on the searching interface itself. And I believe we did go through all of these tools area. I don't know if I did the download. Yes, I did. Let's move on to just opening up a PDF really quickly. So I'm in the PDF area and I see that I do have the option here to download. I do have a search with incoming soon, but here's my listen. Remember, we didn't used to have that for PDF. There's my same tools then, my site, my add to project, my share, and then my print tool. I'm moving back over to the main area. So yes, search history. Search history is really here. So here's my searches that I've done. And so see how I was kind of testing earlier. So there is the search history. If you do want to save it, you can save your searches. But as far as then stacking these searches, that is also coming. So it is there. And remember too, if I am not logged in, just like now, if I'm not logged in, if I'm not authenticated into EBSCO, into my own personal account, then the searches and just basically anything that you do within the folder or dashboard area is only session based. So that means it's only for this session. It's not going to be for later. You want to save things for later, then you're authenticating, and then you're starting to save. I want to save these searches then, right? Because these searches will never be saved unless I, as a user, am actively saying, save this search. So let's move over. What I want to do is I did want to do a few more searches. I'm just going to click new search to clear everything out. And let's move over to CINAHL. I want to show you that. So I'm going to use that same search term of social loafing in CINAHL. And then let's look at the filters here. We didn't do that yet. So remember, I have the quick filters. Because as soon as I did a search, I kind of went then to this one search bar. I have the quick filters here. I can see that I have a few source types here. If I had more, it would show me more. Remember, this is a quick filter just for those three. It won't show me the custom. But maybe I do want to filter just by peer reviewed or online, or let's go look at all filters. So all filters, I have my option then to grab that custom range if I want to make a custom range. Here are my source types, full source types. There's my subject headings, my publisher, my language, my age, my gender, the filters that we would expect to see for the specific database. I now see on the left-hand side here, or on the right-hand side here. Now I can actually explode, do my major headings if I want. And then narrow, remember the filters are always narrowing your focus then, right? But let's do this, go over to advanced search. And here is where then I can see my publication authority, or because I'm searching CINAHL, I'm finding my subject headings. So my subject, actually I'm going to clear that social loafing out, because what I really want to do is I'm just going to look for the nanoparticle drug. So I knew that the search term started with nano. I actually want this to be the major concept, which is then going to include any other references to that term. And then if I did want to select any of the subheadings, I would then be narrowing. So I'm going to actually include all subheadings. And let me go ahead and add that to my search. So if you notice the mesh area and then developing your search using these mesh headings or the CINAHL headings is a little different, but it's in a little different place, right? We're used to it being on the top up here, but it still behaves and acts the same way. So when I when I kind of got down to what I needed to search, and then I added it to my search, then I can then just go ahead and do my search here. So I have then 9 results that I can access and view. Let's look at that online version. So the online or the text version, they're not calling it I'm sorry, they're not calling it, HTML anymore. But if you notice, look, there is my permalink to this article. How do I know? Well, it's telling me right here. That's going to be like the article ID. And there's my OPID that includes my authentication method. But what about this? So I had a question recently. What about this? What about this permalink? It's different. Yeah, it is different. And it's still there and it still works. This will be the same as this. We're just, the permalink here is just there because people are used to getting the permalink from here. Maybe they're not used to getting it from up here. But either way, both those permalinks are going to take me into this article. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, so some of these are real specific, I think, to, yeah, so I just said the advanced search page. So will advanced search be the advanced search page? Let's just look at CINAHL again. I'm in CINAHL. I'm used to seeing all kinds of things on this advanced search page, right? Nurse as author, filtering by those journal subsets. So yes, all of that will be coming in, and that should be next month. So this will be developed, or will be kind of shown to you within about a month's time now, and it will be shown to you on each. Think about the advanced options on Business Source, and or on maybe some of these other specialized resources. So and let me just show you, then if I do go to Realm, or if I went to MLA, a lot of times that subject area, we may have multiple subject indexes. So here's going to be then those options available where you can get to those multiple subject indexes and do your searches from there. So I can look at countries, or maybe I want to just look at the names here, and so on. So poke around in there, do some searches on your own, depending on the resources that you have available to you, will then determine what you see. I know in some of the ATLA resources, the scripture area is also in that subject index area. So we did a search in Business Source. We did a search in CINAHL, and then we're looking at then Realm, subject indexes of Realm, even though the CINAHL search is still there. I think, let's go ahead. We're almost to the end. I'll go ahead and go through. Let's see if I could answer any of the questions. I kind of want to answer that question of, if I choose multiple filters in one category, does it combine? So I think, if you were talking about this, the CINAHL headings, then I don't want to answer that. But if you're talking about just the other areas of filter, I can maybe answer that. So if you want to clarify that question again, that would be good. Definitely, if you are looking for the tools that you need for the systematic reviews, definitely start putting those enhancement requests in now. I know a lot of people are already doing that. And when you're saying something like, please let them please let them have the export to 25,000, please, the way that you're talking to EBSCO, like I can say, yes, I can show them this transcript and I can say, look, this is what everyone's wanting, but the way they're developing and what really weighs heavily is when you're putting in those connect support cases, making that phone call, and then and then making sure that it is reviewed, is added to an enhancement request. That's another thing you will always want to ask for. Please create an enhancement request for this, or add it to a current one. And that's really how then things are being changed and developed. So let's grab not Realm. Let's grab a academic search, and I'll do a search. So if Oh, and Nikki, yeah, I'm gonna have to answer that question if you're asking if it's or for the limp for the filters. But let's do this in. Let me just do sleep disorders here, and I will kind of use some of these filters here and talk about then if I do have the different source types, maybe I do want to narrow down to only academic journals. And then I want to use my thesaurus term here, and I'm narrowing. I really want to focus on the subject being sleep disorders, because remember here, I'm only just doing keyword search. So it could be in any part of the metadata, but here is going to be then determine and make sure that it's only, that's also listed as a subject, which would mean that the articles made, is focusing on that. And then I can see my additional subjects if I'd like. And I want to add that in too. Then I'm going to go back to all filters again and go ahead and apply that. And so I've narrowed them down. So it's showing me that I have 3 filters turned on. And now I can kind of filter by online. And then I can kind of review then my list. Maybe I want only the past 12 months. And you see I'm narrowing down. Now, I have not narrowed to peer reviewed, but the system is highlighting that these items are peer reviewed. So if I have something that's not peer reviewed on the list, it's not going to have that listed. So right now, because I did, I'm searching academic search, most likely a lot of these things are going to be peer reviewed, but just kind of know that peer reviewed is not filtered yet, but it's highlighting it. Once I do, let's see what happens. I shouldn't lose that many results. Yeah, I only lost what, like 1 maybe? Um, Yes, thank you. So someone in the chat is saying there is a separate development happening for the business searching interface. So for the BSI, which a lot of people are using for, and it's only used for a version of business source. And you have those specialty filters and options within business source. There is that same development happening for that business searching interface, instead of using EBSCOhost, because remember, EBSCOhost is just a searching interface. We do have those other searching interfaces available. Let me go ahead and move over to Connect again. And I do want to show you that there is a lot of help for you here. And one of the main things is so if I just do a search, I will put a link to this in our, in the follow-up email. I'm sorry, not quick search. I want to look at the quick start guide. That's what I want to find. Here we go. So this really is made for more a front end use. So if you notice that here's a quick tutorial, this would be great for students. You're welcome to link to this or share this amongst other librarians. It's really quick, but it just gives you that quick tutorial. But then here is all of the detailed information about each area of the new user interface, using the site, sharing the articles, creating project and using the dashboard, applying the filters. So if you know, and a lot of these are, have good instructions and screenshots for you to then use. They need to update that. Yeah, I can give that directly to you in the chat. Yeah, sure. I do give a, so I think because you all have so many questions and because there's a lot of things that you may be waiting to come, I'm going to go ahead and give you this too. Every single month, come on, Connect, our training team is giving 2 EBSCOhost sessions. They're just open for the public to come. You can, make sure that you have your preview link, test it out, and then come with some additional questions. Come with some questions about the roadmap. Usually there's not 107 people in these sessions, so the questions can be answered right away instead of in an FAQ later. But there are this year. I'm going to give you this registration link. So, and let's see what's going on here. So there's one for June, 2 for June. And so if you do want to come back, maybe after some things have been released, there's also one next week if you want to plug around and then come back, or maybe send one of your some of your colleagues to hey, because we're pretty much doing the same thing in these public sessions that we're doing here. It's just that this one is just for CARLI. So, and then look forward to things being in July, August, that will also be added here. So feel free to share that too, to come and learn some more. And definitely, Denise is the one that got us together today. So thank you, Denise. This was
Oh,
really
you're very
well.
welcome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. So you can also let Denise know if you want to have kind of a part 2 to this once things gets released. If you want to have more of a, maybe a longer session, to make sure that all questions get answered. So I can't answer a few questions. So Sherry, you asked, will the subject filter, not the controlled vocabulary, be released? So that does come, for certain databases, that does show up. So kind of like, let's see here. See here, it is here. I think this is what you're talking about, where I can have the thesaurus, or I can have the more of kind of the regular subjects. So it's only there for certain databases though. Doesn't show for all. So any other searches that you want to do at the end? Yeah, so someone's asking, can you add? So see, a lot of these things that you're asking for are going to be enhancement requests. You want the subject filter to be here as a quick filter. I see that. I get that. That's a great suggestion. Definitely, please go through the enhancement request process, because a lot of these things that you see already, and a lot of the things that are on the roadmap are because you have already been asking for them. Okay, someone's asking, what's that Lexile range and why it's that there? We don't need that. Well, you didn't say that. I said it. Lexile range is a reading range. This is the kind of thing that you can change with, in your experience manager. So your systems person, your admin person can hide this, along with then adding those library links. And let's go back. We do have 3 more minutes or 4 more minutes. And I want to bring this back up because really then kind of the next steps is, if you haven't already gotten your preview, ask for it today. You can just go make that phone call to support. And then when you are ready to go live, if you don't want to wait for EBSCO to move you, or let's just say you're like, well, yeah, we've done our research. We're fine with the way it is right now. We're going to wait for, we know it still needs some things to come, but we want to move live this summer. We can set that go live this summer. If you're thinking by mid-fall that, we're not ready to go live in January, then I would start talking to Deb. That is who you need to talk to, Deb and Rick, because they can then pull you from that January list. And then definitely stay connected with, in Connect. I did share with you where the roadmap was, but some of the edits that you can do are these then. So when I say you can do it, each library has access to the new user administrative module where you would do these edits, and they really only take about 15 minutes. So if you did want to add your library logo here, and then maybe you want to also make this logo click back to the library or to the university or the, you know, the organization, instead of just going and clearing out the new search. Because remember, I said this does the same thing as this, where it just clears all your search out, and then it brings you back to a clean new page. You do definitely want to make sure that you add a few links, a few help links, some contact us links, something link but going back to the A to Z database page if possible. You can do that. Please do. Then you can do some simple things like changing the ghost text, and you can also change some of these label names. So if you don't like that online full text name, then you can change that. But that's really about the minimum, or kind of not even the minimum, that's the maximum things you can do as far as edits to the interface. So lots of help on Connect, lots of additional training if you need it. Please, I am your trainer. So, you know, along with doing something bigger for CARLI, we can also possibly set up something just for your library. If, you know, if you have, I've also seen where, you know, after you do a full assessment, you come back with a big list of things. Hopefully not big, but, you know, with a few lists of questions. You know, you can send that through Rick and Deb. We can usually get those answered for you. And then maybe set up set up a meeting with you if you need to. So you should so someone asked, well, at what point should we make these changes? You can make these changes now, and I would do it now. So I don't know if anyone also has Discovery Service here, but it's kind of the same thing. Discovery has a lot of edits, but here you're really only editing a few things. And whatever you're doing now for your preview will be what you have live. So it's not like you're going to have to do it twice. So please just do that now. And I think we just have the thank you. Yeah, don't forget Connect. And then thanks everybody for your time. Thanks everyone for all the questions. We're going to have a lot to do, Denise.
No problem. We'll better now than scrambling in the middle of August. So
yeah,
but
and so if someone whoever's talking about the edits too, I mean, I do give a whole class on how to access,
right.
you know, that.
Experience manager and
Yep.
how to change things. Yeah.
Yep. So
Yeah,
we'll share some information with that in the follow-up too.
absolutely. And a number of your colleagues in the CARLI consortium have already switched, so it's you won't be on your own. You can certainly ask colleagues who've switched to this new EBSCOhost interface now, or will be doing so over the summer as kind of a soft rollout to kind of ease your communities into it.
Yeah, thanks for reminding everyone about that.
This is Deb. I do want to let you know that I appreciate everyone coming on, and especially Denise for organizing and Lisa for her training. As far as your timing when you switch over, please reach out to myself, Rick Ryback, who I believe many of you know. And there is a form, I believe it's on EBSCO Connect, if you want to opt out of getting switched over at the deadline time, and you can fill that out and we can work out a time that's most convenient for you. So I don't want people to be stressing about that. We can work on those timing situations, and you can have the preview, which is individual for your institution. You can make, like Lisa said, you can make your edits there. You can use that while you still have the original flavor EBSCOhost, and then when you're comfortable, you can let support know you're ready to change, or you can say, I want to wait, and let us know what the better timing for you is.